And we are live. I am so excited. This is your girl, Sister Talk with Valerie, your chocolate smoothie. I know y'all have missed me because I have missed y'all. I'm back and I'm black and I'm better. And I'm so excited because I have a special guest with me today. But I kind of wanted to bring y'all a little up to speed. So I've been on hiatus for a while because Sister Talk with Valerie, me, Valerie, your chocolate smoothie, has been really taking some time to really get my piece back together. And a lot has happened in that time. I got sick with COVID. Oh, it was terrible. I thought, like, oh my God, it's time. But it gave me an opportunity to think about some things, to really think about where I was in the world, what was going on in the world, really be present. I think it's really important in this time, y'all, that we have an opportunity to recreate ourselves. We have an opportunity to do things we've never done before. We have an opportunity to self-reflect. And that's really important because it is like it ain't no joke out here. Like every day that I wake up, I thank God. God has been so fabulous to me in this time. But as I'm looking at the things that's happening in the world, I see that we are in a world now that is so confused, backwards. Like we're in the middle of a pandemic and we are relaxing, people wearing masks. Folks is getting mad because they asked them to wear a mask. People are killing people, not like they haven't been doing it before, but at the drop of a hat, there's this aggression that's happening in the atmosphere that you can almost not even look at somebody the wrong way and they jumping off. We have so much division in our political system. Things are not changing. As a matter of fact, for me, from an environmental systematic point of view, I feel like things are getting worse. And then we have us. It is February, the one month that somebody designated as Black History Month. When we know we Black 365, right? So now we're in Black history, and I'm saying this when? Because I always came from the approach of when are we gonna wake up, right? When we gonna
Mhm.
stay woke, we gonna stay woke, we gonna get with it. I understand right now that everybody ain't coming. Everybody ain't gonna get on that boat. Everybody is not going to renew their minds. And that's okay. Because I'm here for those that want to renew their minds as I'm renewing my mind, right? I'm here for the women, right? I have a passion to uplift my sisters, to be there for my sisters. I want to tell y'all something. When I got sick, I didn't know immediately that I had COVID. I started out with chills and fever. And, I doctored on myself. And then the next day, I felt better. And the fever was gone, but I felt very tired, worn out. And I started getting a sore throat. And I was on the phone. My girlfriend called me. We were talking about something. I was feeling very emotional because at the same time, my sister lives in Georgia. She was sick, and I hadn't been able to get in touch with her. And I had this sort of this pressing sadness and urgency on me that I needed to get in touch with my sister because I didn't know how she was doing. I was worried about her. So I was talking to my girlfriend Vina on the phone. And in the middle of our conversation, my throat closed up. Now, when I hear people talk about symptoms of COVID, I'm, thinking that it's about your chest, you can't breathe. And I have asthma and I've had pneumonia. So I knew what that was about. But I wasn't prepared for my throat to close up, right? So I'm talking on the phone and all of a sudden I'm trying to take my breath and my breath is not there. And my girlfriend's on the phone saying, I breathe, I breathe. And no, I didn't, I was like, okay, I was getting ready to pay. I was like, wait a minute, Jesus. That was my exact words. Wait a minute, Jesus. Like, what's going on here, right? And all I could do was to get to text my daughter because my girlfriend was on the other end. And all I text my daughter was, I need you. And my daughter lives very close to me. So it seemed like she was here like that. She was here in like 5 minutes. And she came in the house and, my other daughter had called me during that time and she's like, Mom, what's going on? I said, I can't talk to you now because I can't breathe. I need to go to the hospital. And I'm not usually the one to say I need to go to the hospital. I was like, I need to go to the hospital. And so I was, really monitoring my breath. And my daughter came in the house and I started crying. And I was telling her, I said, the enemy is attacking me and my sister, and I can't get in touch with my sister. And I was scared. I was shaking. I was going through all kinds of changes. And my daughter took me to the ER and they treated me, and they told me I had pneumonia. I was having pains in my back, and I had COVID. I had COVID and pneumonia. And for the next, so I came home, and for the next, I don't know, probably 2 weeks, but the first week was the hardest. I was sick as a dog. I was having pains in my back. I couldn't, I was breathing, like not normal. I was tired and worn out. I didn't have a taste. And I was thinking, like, it gave me an opportunity to say, wow, God, like, if this was the last, if this is my last time, like, is this my last week? If this is my last everything, some things have to change in my life. Like, there's some different perspectives that I want to take. And I'm looking around at the world because y'all know I always feel passionate about what we're doing as a community, what we're doing as Black people. And I said, listen, everybody ain't going to get it. I want to motivate and empower and love on and share with my sisters that do. Oh, and here's the other thing. My girlfriend sent a text to my female friends, sisters that pray. And I'm telling you, it is nothing better than having somebody pray for you at the dime. Like these sisters, I don't care what's going on. All we do, we had a little group text. All we say is we need to pray, and prayers go up, and prayers changes things. I'm trying to tell you. We prayed each other through because a lot of people at the same time was getting sick with COVID. Like a lot of people I knew, vaccination or not, was getting sick with COVID. So it was like it was around me. It was so much sickness around me, and it was hitting home, right? And it made me rethink my whole vibe and vision on life. So right now, here's where I'm at in life. I'm going to live my life every day like it's my last day. I am going to love every day like it's my last day. I'm going to speak my truth every day like it's my last day. That's what I'm going to do because it could very well be my last day. And as I was, coming to terms and feeling better, I said, I got to go back and start doing Sister-Talk with Valerie because I miss my family out there. I miss talking to the women. I miss sharing my thoughts and everything. And so that is what I'm back here to do. And then there's this wonderful young lady named Miss April who has this fabulous organization called A.I.M, who is working with me, helping a sister to develop this whole Sister-Talk with Valerie online thing. So listen, everything is good. And since I've taken that perspective, I'm telling you, doors have been opening in my life. Things are changing. I ain't gonna give y'all all the juice about what's changing in my life, but stay tuned because there has been some updates and changes. And to add to Black History Month, because we Black 365, I brought this brother on tonight. His name is Mr. Earl Taylor. He is a colleague of mine and a co-worker that has worked with me. And ever since I know this man is like he got knowledge that's just spouts out the gang. He just kicks knowledge. And he writes these wonderful poems. And every time he shares a poem with me, I'm like, Earl, you got to get that poem published. That ain't nothing but the truth. He is so talented. So today, on the launch and the renewal, and I'm back in Black and better with Sister-Talk with Valerie, I decided since y'all gave us 1 month, here's my Black History Month uh, most valuable player person, and that's Mr. Earl Taylor. So, Earl, welcome to Sister-Talk with Valerie. Thank you for being
Well,
here.
well, thank you for having me, Valerie. Miss Chocolate Smoothie. Go ahead with your bad self. I like that, by the way.
So,
Uh-huh.
tell me first before, because I want the audience to hear your poems, but I want to know, like,
Okay.
what made you start writing? Like, is this something that you've always done?
Uh, it was something I've always done since grade school, but I kind of toyed with it. But what made me go in depth as to for just writing poem to write, go from just writing rhymes to writing stories and poetry with feelings. At, and we had been lifelong friends ever since I was like 9 years old. And she was one of the last two members of this family that lived next door to me. It was just her and her brother. Then when she passed, I wanted to say something special to him at the funeral, but I didn't know how to go about doing it. So I decided, I said, well, let me write something down. And some say, well, just write a poem and put what you're thinking in the poem. And that's what I did. And it just touched everybody. It was like, oh man, I can't. But those words was great. I can't believe you wrote it. And I'm thinking to myself, I can't believe y'all received it like that, right? They received it. They received it. It was received uh more. I think it hit home more than I realized it hit home. That as I started putting my words down on paper more and more, I started collecting my thoughts from different persons, conversations, angles, readings, and I was able to broaden my scope of poetry from just say for most poets, I shouldn't even say this, but as from being narrow with poetry, it kind of bottlenecked. It kind of opened up. If that makes any sense.
See, I think that like words are so powerful,
And they
you
are,
know,
yeah,
and when you align them in the right way, they almost sing. You know, they almost
yeah,
have to
right,
take on
right.
their own life.
Yeah, and during the course of reading, and I don't just like write poems to be writing poems. I have to feel them mentally first before I can put it down on paper. Right. And here's the crazy part of how I go about doing it. I will come up with a title, right? Then I have to come up with the ending. So if I can't come up with the ending, I can't write the poem. But if I got the title and the ending, I can fill in the rest.
Oh man, that's unique. So
Yeah.
it's not even about a concept. It's about whatever the title is and how is
And
this
then
going to
how I
go.
want it to end. Yeah.
And
So
then you
if
just
I can
fill
get the
in the blank.
title first, and like I said, whatever I'm thinking about, I have to word it just where I want to hear it myself. Then I say, okay, now how do I want this to end? Because I can't have it ending any kind of way. So once I get my ending, then I can go from the beginning, and then I can just take my words from the start and match them up to the ending. If that makes any sense.
So you had your first poem. It was received well, but
Yes.
that does not say, "Hey, I'm gonna go out here and I'm gonna write some poems." So what was it that then motivates you? All right, I'm gonna write another poem. Hey, Miss Eunice, how are
Mhm.
you?
Right. What motivated me to write poems? My friend Tony, he's a minister, and I wrote him one. These words I speak for him. He said, "Man, oh, man, you can read them at church." I said, "Okay, I can do that." He said, "If you want to write poems to read at church, I'll allow you to read them." So, okay, cool. But then I start writing spiritual poems. Then as you lose people along the way, I wrote certain poems for that. But like for instance, when a friend of mine died named Mimi, I always felt that her family was a little too judgmental because Mimi she was a great person, but she was a free spirit. In other words, she was Frank Sinatra. She did it her way and didn't care who liked it or who didn't. So I said, well, I'm gonna write this one for Mimi, and the title of the poem was "Judge Me Not." Yeah, and when I gave it to her mother, and her mother read it, and she had it read at the funeral because I couldn't attend for some reason or another, and she said that poem floored everybody, including the minister that performed the eulogy.
Do you
Yeah,
have that one with you?
I do not. I do not. I just thought about that poem as we were talking, but no, I do not. But I can easily email it to you.
Well, I want you to read one of your poems. We have some people online. Eunice says that she thinks the same way, that when she's writing
Hmm.
plays or screenplays, she comes up with the title, then the story comes, and it's almost like a prompt. And my
Right, right.
sister Regina is on. So give us
Okay.
a little taste.
Uh,
Wet our whistle. Let us hear
okay.
some of that
I tell you
powerful
what.
good stuff.
I'm going. I have 6 poems in front of me. Right. I'm going to give you the titles, and you pick one.
Okay.
Okay. One of the poems is "I've Come to Collect." One is "The Black Skin Walk." The other one, "Both Sides of the Window." Then I have "Black in America," and then there's "What You Talking About," and then finally, "The Bitch Who Thought She Was Queen."
Ooh. Ooh. Let's go with the bitch that thought she was queen first, and then we're gonna go with Black America since we're trying to honor their 1 month Black history. Let's
say,
go with that one.
say, go with the bitch who thought she was queen first. Okay, can you hear me? Because I got a little static on your end.
I can hear you. Maybe talk up a little louder for the audience just so they can hear the words that are coming out of your mouth.
I mean, am I coming out? I mean, am I speaking? Can you hear me
Yeah.
clearly?
Yes.
Okay, all right, here we go. The bitch who thought she was queen. The audacity of one makes it hard for us all. As time passes by, justice will call. She is unable to see the error of her ways, sitting high on a pedestal, thinking grandeur for days, looking down upon others, going about their life, causing them nothing but misery and strife. Is it easy to it is easy to stand tall, standing on the shoulders of others, mistreating your sisters, disrespecting your brothers. What makes you think you cannot be touched? Do you think the powers that be love you so much? The bitch who thought she was queen. Evil is the one who thinks she does no wrong. Being vindictive and mean won't last for long. Pretending to be something you're not. Do you know where you come from? Have you forgot? Be careful of what you do, mindful of what you say. Remember this: every dog has his day. Riding the high horse will put you on dangerous ground. What you put out will come back around. When your ghost comes back, then you'll see they come back tenfold. So don't cry, why me? The bitch who thought she was queen. Vengeance is mine, saith the Lord. When you do dirt, the dirt is the reward. This is a lesson you shall soon learn. If you play with fire, you will get burned. Nemesis is the goddess of divine retribution, bringing death, destruction, and mass confusion. You may enjoy being a bitch, but there is one bigger than you. When she comes to call, what will you do? When Nemesis comes to call, don't you dare cry. She will show you no mercy. You know the reason why. The shadows in the dark are treacherous, vindictive, and mean. They are coming for you, the bitch who thought she was queen.
Wow. Wow. So was that inspired? Or was
That
that
was inspired.
ah
Yeah, that was inspired, and I'm sure we all know bitches who thought they were queens.
yeah,
Yeah,
we
yeah.
do.
So that was a message.
And that you know what though? It's not just you can really say that about not just folks that want to be bees, but in general.
And
when you build
right
your
in
high
general,
horse.
it covers a broad stroke of life experiences. Put it that way, because some people, unfortunately, and we all know them, have this delusion of grandeur.
Mm.
Some people just put more importance on themselves than they really have.
That's a good lesson too, Earl, because I think that's the downfall of a lot of people. You get to this place in life where you feel like, I'm up. It's all about me. It doesn't matter.
Exactly.
People don't matter. It's only about what I can get, what I can do.
Hmm.
And it's like you said in the poem, forgetting that, you know, you got to come down that same
Yeah.
road or mountain that you went up. You have to
Hmm.
go. My mom always used to say, be careful how you treat people because the same people you meet going up,
Yep, it's
you got to
coming
meet the
down.
same
Yeah,
people coming down.
yeah,
Yeah,
because I've heard that put in a different way. I heard people say that I had an old white man told me one day. He said, "Boy," and I didn't get offended. So I hope I'm not offending anybody by telling this story because it's true. But to get the man, like was in his 90s, and I was like 23. So to him, I was a boy. So he said, "Boy, let me tell you something." He said, "The toes you step on today may be attached to the ass you have to kiss tomorrow."
that's
And I
real
was like,
talk.
"Yeah, yeah." He put it out there. That old dude put it out there. He
That's
said,
real talk.
"Yeah,
We got to be careful what we say, how we treat people, thinking that
exactly. Yeah,
because you never
exactly.
know. I
You
was
you
talking
never
to
know."
somebody the other day about knowledge and how you can get knowledge from any place. And, you know,
Yeah,
I was saying this to my grandkids, like, don't despise small beginnings and don't think you so smart that you can't learn something from the homeless person on the street. They had a
exactly,
life before they
exactly.
got there. You know what I'm saying? Or the child.
Hmm.
No, or people, you got a degree, you have a degree of knowledge in that specific area. That doesn't mean you know everything.
You know it, and you know what? That is so true. But here's the key, the clincher. People need to take time to listen to the other person, listen to them, and hear them. Because if you don't do either or, you letting knowledge pass you by. And I give you an example. I was working constructions, and I probably was like 37, 38. And this little young white boy named Steve Willard, I'll never forget him. Steve has passed since then. Uh, he had a drug addiction, excuse me. And a lot of people used to just look down. I say, well, Steve is misunderstood. So I said that to say this. He was talking to amongst his friends one day, and Steve was 17 at the time. And he told them, he said, wishing you were someone else is a waste of the person you really are. So I looked at, I said, what did you say? And he kind of clammed up because his friends was clowning him. I said, look, y'all need to be quiet. I said, repeat that, please. So he kind of hesitated, then he repeated it. I said, Steve, I said, you know what? No matter how long I live, I'll never forget you said that.
That's good talk. That's good
Yeah.
talk.
Yeah. I was like, oh my God, that is, I said, do y'all understand what he just told y'all?
You can't be nobody but you. You
Yeah,
just can't. You
yeah,
just
yeah,
can't.
exactly. The moral of the story is stop trying.
Hmm.
Yeah, be yourself. And it's one or two things going to happen. Either people going to like you or they not. If they don't, fine. They do, even better.
You got some fans for your poem, so I want to hear the next one. Um,
Uh-huh.
we were talking about the one that you sent me. It was the thing
Both
going.
sides of the window.
Yes, you
Yes.
gotta read that. I was
Okay.
I was like, I had pulled it off. I said, man, maybe I should read this because when I read it, I was like, yes. But
Uh-huh.
no, you read it. You read it. Both Sides of the Window by
Both.
Mr. Earl
Right. Yes.
Taylor.
Both sides of the window. And it reads as follows. Is it better to be inside looking out or outside looking in? Is one filled with joy and hope, the other with multitude of sin? Looking out, we do not see ourselves as others do. Are the smiles on their faces deception or true? Looking into another's eyes, do we see the pain that dwells within? Do we care about their struggles? Are we really a friend? As we look inwards, are we consumed with our own grief, crying out in abundance of disbelief? As we see the beggar on the street, do we stop to stare? As we ask ourselves, what's he doing here? Do we really care? Do we look down on this person? Are we blind to see? Do we ever ask ourselves, could this be me? Do we cry for the person who has no more tears to give? Do we understand the child who wants not to live? Do we see the less fortunate who is willing and able? Can we extend a hand of friendship, offering a seat at the table? When we look into the mirror, what will your reflection say? Will you be not who you are? Will your honor fade away? As you move forward in life, whatever your situation may be, as you look through the glass, please have the strength to see through both sides of the window.
Mm, I love that, Earl. I love
Right.
that. I love it because it's about self-reflection and even
Exactly. Exactly.
oh,
Exactly. And that one was believe it or not, I was watching a program. I can't recall what program it was. And one of the characters on the program said, y'all need to be able to look through both sides of the glass. I said, shit, I can work with that.
I like it. And
Yeah.
it also speaks to, we could see things just through our lens, like this is how it's supposed to be. This is what I think about it.
Hmm.
We're looking at other people and basing uh, what we feel about them, our judgment on our lens, right? Hey,
Right, right.
why are you doing this? What's up with that?
Uh-huh. Right.
But we
Yeah.
don't
So
know because we ain't
we
in
don't
those
know.
shoes.
Yeah, exactly. We have to understand people's situation. Just like everybody in prison isn't bad. You know, good people do bad things. You don't know the reason why. You know, even the most hatefulest person in the world has good in them. Somebody just needs to find a way to bring it out.
Mm,
You know,
mm-hmm.
they want.
Let me ask you this, Earl.
Uh-huh.
I was thinking about because there was something in the news about the prison system and really I think it was one state that was cutting back on um like letting people do a work program or they have the work programs that they do in prison because people feel like if you're in prison you should get punitive um you should have like there should be you should pay for your crimes, right?
Right.
So I begin to think, well, first of all, we know that the prison system is a multi-million dollar business, and
Yes,
it's
it
like
is.
it's slavery all over again.
Mm-hmm.
And when you start identifying at a black young boy's third grade reading level determines how many prisons you're going to make. We know it's all about the system. But
Mm-hmm.
I think a lot of people feel that if you commit a crime or if you're in prison, that it should be about the punishment. So my question to you is, and on the same basis as that poem, what's more important, rehabilitation or punishment if someone commits a
I,
crime?
I would say that in my opinion, I think that would be catered to the individual, if that makes any sense, because most people, and this is my thinking, most people that's in prison can be rehabilitated if someone has a little faith in them and tell them that you have faith in them. And then you got those that just ain't going to do no good no matter what you do or say. You know what I mean? So for that few that's not really going to do any good, then it's the punishment. You just got to make it worth the punch. And you can tell them the ones that would, but the ones that did something wrong, they acknowledge it and they're remorse about it and they're willing to make a change, then rehabilitation comes into play. And if they're feeling remorse, it's not hard to rehabilitate them because they're already sorry for what they did, but we don't know the circumstances which created to cause them to do what they did. You know what I mean?
Mm. I'm gonna
Yeah.
have that's gonna be a topic on one of my sister talks with Valerie. Rehabilitation or punishment, because I don't see rehabilitation even in the equation anymore because prison is such a multi-million-dollar business. It's
And,
about
and it is, and I have to agree with that, but it can be done if somebody just shows a little concern for the ones who can be rehabilitated. And I say that because I used to be a counselor at PIR, which is the Psychiatric Institute of Richmond, and we had students from 6 to 17. Once they got 18, they had to go through to Central State, obviously. So the and I've had a lot of people at staff would tell me, "Oh, this one is encourageable, that one is not encourageable." Oh, blah 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 blah. Long story short, my brother and I was counselors over there, so we gathered up all the knuckleheads that they say were incorrigible, and we took them outside. You know what we did? We played volleyball with them. We played volleyball with them because everybody wanted to play volleyball. We brought them down to from their all that anger was gone. Everybody, we were out there, and this was black, whites, male, female. We all on this volleyball court having a good time. We were having such a good time that the senior administrator came out there and said, "Y'all can't be out here without staff." And my brother and I looked at him and told him, like, "Here's our badge. We are staff." And everybody turned, when they said that, everybody turned around and said, "They staff. They out here with us." And he was so confused, for lack of a better term, because he was like, and then naturally we got called into the office. They was like, "Well, how did you get them to do that?" I said, "Well, I asked them. I asked them." And the reason he said, "Well, you asked them and they did?" I said, "Yeah." I said, "The problem is," I said, when y'all have y'all little group sessions, conversation, what it is, I see everybody in here puts on these airs.
mm,
And when my brother and I was in group sessions, and they were telling us what we did, I was like, "Oh, Johnny, I did that. I smoked a little weed. I drank. I skipped school. I stole stuff out the store." And they was like, "Oh man, you the only staff that ever admitted doing it." I said, "I'm not perfect." I said, "Because if I was, I could walk water, and we all know I can't do that." So I said, "So I'm not perfect. I ain't even in here to try to shoot you a bunch of crap. I'm just telling you how it is." I said, "I'm telling you, if you do X, Y, Z," I said, let me rephrase. I said, "You do what you do, you get what you get.
that's it.
Get bottom line." So I say, and what I don't mean to cut you off, but I'm gonna say this. I tell people all the time. I said, no matter how far you throw that boomerang, sooner or later it's coming back. Now the question is, what's on it when you throw it?
Mm.
You know?
But you know what that speaks to? It speaks to the title of your poem. It's like the glass, how you looking at it. It's
Yeah,
really
I
about
looking
how
through the
you look
glass.
at
Yeah,
it. Absolutely.
yep.
So, what will be our next poem that you're gonna read for us?
Oh, well, since it's Black History Month, I think I will go with Black Skin Walk.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, now see, I wrote this when I was watching a movie. I forgot what movie it was, but they had this song on it, Black Skin Mile. And I thought
Mm.
they said Black Skin Walk. So I rewound the movie and I was like, "Oh, Earl, you were loud and wrong." So I said, "Oh man, let me regroup." But that title, Black Skin Walk, just stuck in my head. I said, "Well, you know what? I can work with this." Okay.
Mm.
And Black Skin Walk reads as follows: Born unto the world with a dark color of skin, looked down upon by others as if it was sin. Do they not see the soul that rests inside? As I hold my head up with dignity and pride, why am I looked upon as a mindless buffoon? for they know me not, as they have judged me too soon. Why must I be profiled as vicious, conniving, and bad, treating me as a heartless criminal? This is truly sad. Do they not like the words that I carefully speak, trying to deny me the opportunity I desperately seek? I ask no more than you, as I expect no less, for I shall keep pushing forward as I do my best. I am not this thing that can be easily pushed away. I shall stand strong tomorrow as I will today. What goes on inside one's mind? Why am I being unjustly persecuted? This is not kind. I will achieve great accomplishments while through life I go. I will not be denied my place in history, just so you'll know. My words may seem empty. You may think I'm just talk, for you should gaze upon me as I take the black skin walk.
Man, that's a walk, Earl. That is
Mm,
a walk. That's a walk.
don't I
That
know it?
black skin walk.
Yeah.
And I think I'm at a place in my life where, we look at all the protests, we look at all the every 60, 30 years civil rights movements. We look at the
Hmm.
fact that, we had all this hoopla and, God bless them, the folks that protested and marched, but I'm
Yeah,
still trying
right,
to figure
right.
out what accomplishment that
Hmm.
did. It always brings us closer to something. I know,
Right.
I have big respect for our civil rights leaders because it brought us close to something, right? Even what
Hmm.
happened with this past couple of years, and
Exactly.
it brought us close to
Exactly.
something, but it still keeps us in a place where we still are not seen as the beautiful, intelligent leaders, kings and queens,
Ha, yeah, that we are.
um, the mother of the earth, who
Yeah.
was a black woman. We
Hmm.
still have to deal with the same things. And it's almost like, look at the state we live in. We move by who's in power, right?
Hmm.
Now I was listening to someone talk the other day about how, yeah, we can't talk about health equity or racism anymore because we got a new governor. Like we just go with the flow. I don't care who's the governor, who's the president, who's what. We still got an issue that we are
Right.
the elephant in the room. We still don't address it the way we need to address it.
Yeah,
So
you're right. Somebody needs to take a stand. But if and like you said, looking at all the great leaders, I mean, I've read speeches from Malcolm X, Martin Luther King, Richard Nixon, Winston Churchill. The list goes on and on. I said that to say this: all these great leaders, the ones I've just mentioned, had all of them had to go through had to climb a mountain. They had a river to climb. I mean, a mountain to climb and a river to swim. So if you don't push forward, and if you're not man or woman enough to stand up for what you believe, it won't get done. You can't wait for somebody else to do it because it won't get done.
mm-mm.
Yeah,
And you got to start from within.
exactly, exactly.
That man in the mirror, that woman in the
Yeah,
mirror. That's
yeah,
where you got to start
yeah.
at.
So if that one is unwilling to change, you can give it up.
Mm-hmm.
But just, I mean, and I'm not mad at the ones who's not willing to change. Just don't get in everybody else's way. If
Yeah,
that, if that's cool with you, that's fine. That's cool with you. But stay out of my way because I'm going forward, either around you or through you. It makes no difference. I prefer to go around you, but if I got to go through you, then so be it.
I hate to get derail the subject, but please help me understand
Hmm.
what is the issue with masking up if you might put somebody in harm's way. Somebody help me understand how is that taking your civil rights away by masking up? Like, it's not about, I get when, I believe it's your business whether or not you want to be vaccinated. I
Hmm.
believe it's your business how often you're tested, when you're tested. But people are dying. We're talking about millions of people have already died.
Right,
Help me
right.
understand what the problem is with wearing a mask when you're around people. I don't get it.
Neither do I. And I've been out here fighting the COVID epidemic on the front lines. And the only thing I can do is just tell people, that is truly your choice whether you want to mask up or not. I can't even be mad at you for that. But just if that's what you decide to do, you don't want to wear a mask, fine. You don't want to go get vaccination, fine. Just don't spread untruths.
Mm.
Just don't lie. Don't spread a whole bunch of nonsense about what's really happening because that's how you feel, and you want someone else to feel the same way. That's the only problem I got with it.
Let me read Eunice's comment, then I'm gonna make one. I've always felt that we see ourselves as kings and queens. If we see ourselves as kings and queens, things will change for our community. I agree, Eunice, but I think the
Oh yeah,
problem is that no one, we've lost a lot of history, we know. Um,
right.
and the history that people are willing to tell, they're not telling it. It's not filtering down to our young people. Like, there's a generation that has no idea of the
Hmm.
power that we come from. There's a generation that has no idea that we are the developers and creators of classical music and mathematics. And
Hmm.
when
Hmm.
you go and you see these statues, um, in China with the wide noses that comes from us, that we were called, we were so powerful that we civilized nations, that we built towns and communities. Like, if the truth is not shared with our this generation or youth, then they're not going to know, and they're not going to understand that they're kings and queens. And so you can call
Right,
me anything if I don't know my power. I
right. But
think that's
see,
part of the problem.
okay, but see, here's the thing. It needs to be taught at home first, and I say that because obviously, in Black History Month in school, they're going to teach you what they want you to teach you. But as a child, when I was growing up, my mother said, "Oh no, we were much more than this," and she taught us at home. So therefore, I could pass the knowledge on because I had it. The reason I say that because I bought my little sister now. She was like 7 or 8 or something like that, somewhere in that era. She might have been as much as 12, but let's go with 12. I bought her a Black History book that I found in Walmart. I said, "Here, read this." So she read it, and she read it. And what surprised me, I was in the house one day, and she was sitting on the porch with her little friends, and she was sharing it with them. So the knowledge, you can't depend on someone else to give you the knowledge that you should have of your people when it's not being given to you at home. And then if you go out into the world, we all know the world's going to give you a limited edition if they give you that. And what they giving you is good, but it's not enough. So then the receiver of that be like, "Oh, okay." We both know the younger generation is so nonchalant. They're like, "Oh, is that it?" See, but they don't know the origin of it.
Mm.
So if they're not taught that, you
Then they
know,
don't know. And I
then
agree that all lessons are learned at home, regardless of whether you want to teach a lesson or not, because kids
mhm,
watch 90% of what you do and listen to 10% of what you say.
what you said,
But
right?
if you don't have that knowledge, you can't share it.
You
And
can't
so
share it.
I correct myself. I said this younger generation. It is not generational, because there are some people in this young generation that are knowledgeable, that know, that
Yeah,
research, that study. This is about no matter what age group you are, and I can only speak to the Black history pieces of it,
yeah,
because
right, right,
it's
right.
not being taught in the schools like it should be. And when it's taught in the schools, they stop at the fact that they tell you about Harriet Tubman, they tell you
Hmm.
that we were slaves, but they don't tell you what happened pre-slavery. They don't tell you what happened
Right,
before we were slaves. And
right,
so,
right.
but if we don't have it, if the parents don't have the information, If whoever is, the custodial person for that child, they don't have it, then they can't share it. We
Right.
have to seek it out. It's
Hmm.
there. Our history has been buried. We never get credit for anything that we do, but we really
Right.
have to seek out that knowledge.
We got
Um,
that knowledge. Yeah. Yeah. I'm gonna give you an example. I was talking to this young white girl. I'm not gonna call her name, but she's as sweet as she could be, and we were talking about Black history. And she said, "Well, can I tell you something?" I said, "Sure." She said, "Well, my great grandfather was a racist." I said, "Well, why do you say that?" She said, "Well, because he had one of those little lawn jockeys, the little guys with the red and white and the little lantern and the black face and all that." So I said, "Well, where is it now?" I said, "Is it original?" She said, "Yeah." I said, "Where is it now?" She said, "Well, my mother felt so ashamed, she put it in the garage and hid it." I said, "Don't do that. Pull it out and proudly display it." And she looked at me with this look like, "Why?" I said, "Do you know what that lantern stood for? Do you, Val?" No, see, there it is. That lantern stood for that lantern. Any white man or white woman who had that lantern in their yard during slavery was a signal to the runaway slaves that they had a safe haven they could come to.
mm,
Yes, when they lit that lantern and they put it you notice they were always on the street in the driveway. That was letting the runaway slaves know that they could stay there and not to worry about being found out because they were hiding until the posse or whatever it was
wow.
passed. Yeah,
Yeah, I
that's what
always
that
thought
was
it was
for.
a racist thing too.
A lot of people thought it was a racist thing until I heard a guy say it, and I looked it up for myself. And yes, that's what that lantern was for. And a lot of people don't know that a lot of whites got hung for having that lantern.
Mm,
Like, oh, we know what you're doing. Then you know what they called them after that. It's like, yeah, but yeah, that's what that lantern was for.
wow. All right.
Yeah,
Educate me in Black History Month, Mr. Ray,
yeah,
Mr.
there it
Earl
is.
Taylor.
Uh,
I want to hear, so because we have about maybe 10 minutes left. I want to hear
mhm.
another poem. Got to hear another poem.
Okay,
And
this
let me
one is
just
one.
say, for all of you guys that are listening out, listen, Mr. Earl Taylor, if you are interested in, because I've been trying to talk Earl into publishing his poems
I'm getting
like
there.
forever. But if you
Hmm.
like what you hear, please like send us a little, I am, send me something through Facebook because maybe we can convince Earl to publish his poems so the world can hear them.
Okay, this one I'm gonna read to you is entitled "What You Talking About." Now I'm gonna have to tell you why I wrote this one. I was helping a friend of mine's move, and her son, I'm sorry, was in the car. Younger generation, he got this music all playing, and he speaking in his special language. And she looked at him and said, "Boy, what are you talking about?" So if this poem will explain how to communicate with the younger generation if you don't know, right? And the poem is entitled "What You Talking About?" And it reads as follows. As I spoke with this person, a fine young brother, he had a language of his own, unlike no other. As he spoke to me with grace and poise, the sound he called music, I called noise. Young blood, what you talking about? As he continued to speak, as I knew he would, I heard every word, nothing understood. With pants hanging down, I wanted to understand. I thought to myself, what's wrong, young man? Young blood, what you talking about? The young brother smiled as he began to explain. Since you don't know me, let me tell you my name. I like you, Pops, from the moment we met. What you see is what you get. Old school, what you talking about? I'm the person who rises with the sun. Have faith in me, Pops, for I am the one. I'm the person with your wisdom, I'll march on. I'll lead the fight after you're gone. Old school, what you talking about? Share what you know. Bless me with your sight. Help me understand so I'll get it right. I am a young man born unto my mother. Don't judge this book by its cover. I am a young man on this path I must go. I'll do my best, Pops, just so you'll know. I'll stand tall to make you proud. Remember my name as you speak out loud. He smiled as he turned, began to walk away. I gotta bounce, Pops. I cannot stay. I like you, old school, without a doubt. I pray you hear me, for that's what I'm talking about.
Wow. We got to be careful
Yeah,
how we judge our young people.
we're very careful how we judge our young people. Very careful, because if you're not talking to them, you can't hear them,
Mm,
and
mm.
if you're not listening to them, you can't hear them because they want to tell you, but so many of us, as you say, we prejudge them, and then they got nobody to talk to but each other. They mean well, but they have no one to guide them, so we must guide them. It takes a village to raise a child.
That's real. That's good talk. Because we do.
Yeah,
We look at them, pull your pants up. Why you listening to, what's that rap music about?
yeah, right, right.
Da-da-da.
Or it's, instead of asking them, explain that to me. Or like I like to tell them, define the term. Like the first time I heard somebody say, "Don't diss me," I was like, "Okay, young man, whatever I did, I apologize. I didn't mean to diss you." So I went home and knocked on my neighbor's door, and his young son came out. I said, "Man, what does this mean?" you know, and like me, what was he talking about? He like, "No, that means disrespect." I said, "Oh, okay, got you. That's all I wanted to know."
Yeah, we got to ask questions. That's good.
Yeah,
That's a
that's the
good
question.
reminder.
Yeah, 'cause I tell them in a minute, hey, define that, break that down for me. Yeah, and
And
most
we
times,
don't have patience with, I know that I have
keyword,
patience.
yes, yes,
Yeah.
keyword, keyword, and you're right. We don't have. I ain't gonna say we don't have patience. We just don't take the time to listen because we have a tendencies to lump the younger generation into our generation. If that makes any sense to you, you know, you can't put them where we are because they haven't been there.
Mm.
You know. Oh,
Well, you know what? And that's good for folks to hear. Ooh, oh,
yeah,
that's good for
yeah,
folks to hear. So we say, because I'm guilty of it. This is how I was
yeah.
raised. And back in my day, you wouldn't get away
Right,
with
right.
that.
And we've
And
all been guilty of it.
disrespect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And you
Yeah.
looking at them like, well, what's up
Yeah.
with that? Why you
What's
acting
up with
like
that?
that?
Yeah.
Why you doing that? But we was young. And I'm sure the
Yeah.
same
We
was
were
said
young too,
about
and
us.
our parents didn't understand us. So what broke me out of it, I started talking to them and I started listening to them. And you'd be surprised at what they tell you. And I told one young man one time, he was just constantly getting into trouble. And my brother and I, let me shift gears a little bit, had this youth program called Youth Action on Positive. But what we wanted to do was offset all the negative of the young people as opposed to show the good, because it's only a small percentage that's doing bad. But anyway, I was talking to this young guy, and he was doing, he was having a problem with math. Or at least he thought he was having a problem with math. So I figured out another way to teach it to him. So, I figured out, I shared with him where he could understand. So he said, "Oh, yeah, yeah, I get it, I get it." Because he had a thing for doing, no matter what kind of math problem he always had to do division first. So I say, "Well, how did you do that?" So he showed me, and I was like, "Well, damn," I said, "I would have never thought of that. I'm proud of you." That little young man looked me in my face with tears in his eyes. He said, "I never had anybody tell me that."
Mm,
I was shocked.
mm.
I was shocked, brokenhearted. I'm like, "Are you
Too common.
serious?" Huh?
It's too common that they don't hear. I'm proud of you. I love you. You did a good
I love
job.
you. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I was like, "Really? You never? No one has ever told you that you were proud of them?" And after I told one young man I was proud of him, and he was probably like 22, and he said, "Why are you proud of me?" I said, "For being you."
Mm.
And he just looked at me with this confused look on his face. I said, "No one has ever told you that?" He said, "No." That's why I asked you, why was you proud of me?
Well,
So
you've given us some schooling today, like reminder. I know you gave me a good reminder. I see Eunice said that she was guilty of that too. Sometimes we look at our young people and we make judgment. And my
yeah,
sister said, please put your poems on the market.
I
So
will do. I will do.
can people get in touch with you? Because y'all look, if y'all want to hear some more of Earl's poems, y'all could reach out to me and I'll definitely let Earl know.
Yeah,
Earl, what is
definitely,
it going to take
definitely.
for you to publish them poems?
Huh?
What is it going to take for you to publish the poems?
Well, actually, I'm getting the information from Rita now, so the wheels are being put into motion. Yeah,
Good.
I really, actually, when I wrote them, I really didn't expect them to be received as they are or have being received. So it's kind of like it's mind blowing to me. Like, really? Because some of the
But let
stuff
me
that I wrote,
listen, y'all.
mhm.
This man has a book. How many poems do you have, Earl?
Oh Lord, probably easily 150, 200.
Maybe more. This man
Maybe,
has,
yeah, yeah.
yes.
And, it all comes from how I'm feeling, what I'm thinking. Like the bitch who thought she was queen, I was pissed at somebody at that time. So instead of getting in trouble, I wrote the poem. Yeah. So it's
You're a great example that, and so are all of us, that Black History Month is not once a month. We have greatness in our Black
that's
people
right.
that's
That's right.
every day. We don't have to be somebody that you see on TV. You don't have to be a big
Right.
movie
Right.
star. You don't have to be a great
Hmm.
athlete. You don't have to be a model. We got greatness in us. So it is Black History Month, 365, 24/7. Identify your greatness and walk in it.
And walk it. Right. Right. Do we have time to do one more?
We do. We have
Okay.
3 minutes. We're gonna let you do one more because
Okay.
it's good right there.
This one is entitled Black in America. Being black in America, what does this mean? Am I not a person? Am I less than a human being? Being black in America, why do you see this as a sin? Why do you hate the color of my beautiful skin? Being black in America, for I was born in this land, as I stand tall, being blessed by God's hand. Being black in America, I am a descendant of kings and queens, for there is royalty in my blood, yet it is unseen. Being black in America, for I am a giant among men, as I love and teach my children. Yes, you can win. Being black in America is to love and respect one another. For every woman is my sister, every man my brother. Being black in America is to be proud of who you are, becoming all you can be, being a rising star. Being black in America is to behold the rising sun, embracing all people, loving them as one. Being black in America is to hear the sparrow's song, to love that which is right, to love that which is good, to right that which is wrong. Yes, I'm black in America.
I love it. I love it. You just asked Earl, is there a
Hmm.
particular style of poetry that you like? And do you have a favorite poet?
A favorite poet?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Maya Angelou.
Oh yeah.
And it's as far as style of poetry, uh, is she asking my style of poetry?
Is there a
I mean,
particular style that you're fond of that you say, well, I like this, I like that?
uh, if it makes sense to me, I like it all. To be honest with you, yeah. So I can hear little small phrases, and it'll be a poem to me.
Yeah.
You know, do you know,
Mm. Yeah. So have you ever tried putting some music to your poetry?
not as of yet. Not as of yet. That was suggested as well. But me personally, I don't do know how to write or compose music. So I would love to find somebody who think they could do it. That would be a great tag team.
All right, we gotta hook up because there's a lot of people out here. Because it's all it is adding the beat. You already have
Yeah,
it. You
right.
have somebody like I could read your poetry. My brother-in-law does beats. That's a whole vibe
Hmm.
thing. That's a whole nother level of your poetry. Like
Right,
that.
right, right.
Absolutely. Thank you so
Hmm.
much for being on tonight, Earl. I really appreciate it. I
Well,
appreciate you.
it was a pleasure and an honor to be invited here to speak amongst everybody. And thank you for allowing me to share. And thank those who like what I shared. And just keep your head up and listen to our children. I'm gonna leave you
Absolutely.
with I'm gonna leave you with a quote that I heard an old lady say it. This old lady said, "Children have to think that you care before they care what you think."
Ooh,
Remember that.
children have to think
Children
that you care before they
before
care what you think. I like
exactly.
that.
And that
That's
lady
so
is so
true.
right.
It is. And it's
Yep.
about our kids, right? A lot of us
Exactly.
is at that place in life where we at that end level of life. So somebody gonna take care of us in our nursing home.
Exactly. Exactly. We got to teach somebody to lead the way.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Thank you, Earl. Thank you, Eunice. Thank you, my sister Regina Kamar. I call her Kamar. Thank you for all who has joined us tonight. Sister Talk is back in black and better. If you have a show topic that you'd like to hear, please send me an I.M. I'm on Facebook at Valerie Robinson McAllister. I also want to share that we are in final revisions. I can't even say revisions. We have almost completed the Generational Words newest short film, Miracles of Life. I am so proud of this body of work. I mean, I'm thankful to God because I feel like we've moved to even another level with this film. It should be released. It's the life story of Maisha Gilliam L., who suffers with cardiomyopathy, who stopped breathing for 10 minutes. So it's that story. It's called Miracles of Life, but God brought it back. We are currently Generational Words working on putting together a film. Two pastors came to us and asked us to write to do a film about their stories. I'm gonna be reaching out to some of my connections out there, like Miss Felicia, to get some input on that play. But let me tell you something, y'all. I was talking to my daughter about generational words, and this is how God is blessing. We're not even marketing as we should be. For this last couple of years, I've been really in this place of hearing God, and people are coming to us. So please know that God will come to you if you're open to Him with your blessings. Your gifts do make way for you, and we all have purpose. Walk in your purpose. Don't worry about what anybody else says. It's not about failure. It's about trying. We're going to fall 50 times and get up and get up and get up because that's what we know how to do. It is when we sit there and we don't move that we become stagnant and we can fail. But as long as we have breath, we have opportunity to get it right the next day. So I love you. This is your girl, your chocolate smoothie always. And I'm back and I'm back and I'm better. So we will see you next week on Sister Talk with Valerie. Thank you for being here. Earl, thank you for joining me. Have a good
Thank
night,
you.
everyone.